It was about 18 years ago when I had injured my back. I bulged out a disc between L4 and L5. I went to physical therapy, spent about 3 months in therapy. Eventually, about that time, I was able to get back into the gym and get back to my normal routine. Then about a year later, I re-injured my back again. This time I'd gone to chiropractic, Dr. Chester Wilk from Chicago. And after a few adjustments, I was back up to my normal speed within 1 week after going to Dr. Wilk. And it was about 11 years ago that I started to develop TMJ problems. It's temporal mandibular joint dysfunction problems. Initially, I was misdiagnosed from, of all places, Mayo Clinic, and later it was determined I did have the TMJ. I visited several specialists, ENT specialists, oral surgeons, physical therapists, and pretty much they were going to do one of two things: either give me a pill or cut into me. Eventually, I was treated by a dentist and ended up wearing a full set of braces for 4 years in my early 40s, and the treatment worked extremely well. I've only had like minor flare-ups since then, but it's worked pretty well. As a side note, I subscribed to health emails, about 3 or 4 of them, and one of the emails I get is from Dr. David Christopher, and the name of the email is called Herbal Legacy Newsletter. There was one that was sent out particularly back in April of 2011, and it was entitled Relieving Jaw Pain with NUCCA. I didn't know much about NUCCA at the time, so I Googled it, got into their website, but I kind of kept this in the back of my mind, figuring maybe someday I might need it. And then about 6 months later, after getting this email back in November of 2011, my TMJ symptoms had worsened. I thought about seeking NUCCA treatment, but the chiropractor here that I've been seeing in South Florida gave me treatment, and it seemed to work pretty well. And then about 9 months after learning about NUCCA back in September of 2012, my symptoms had come back again, and actually it was worse this time around. The problem I had with TMJ is that it was worse on my right side than anything else, and on my left side started to flare up. I went back to the dentist that originally had treated me, but basically got very little relief from any adjustment that he gave me. So I started seeing this local chiropractor and got no relief at all. So that's when I finally recalled just coming back home and went back on the NUCCA website. My dentist started to recently recommend for TMJ patients to see NUCCA chiropractors. So I took a look at the chiropractors that were on the website, and the one that was most qualified I thought was Dr. Brown. You'll be able to edit this, won't you? I thought so. I still recall phoning Dr. Brown's office that afternoon. I was desperate. I was out of options.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
I recalled how long it would take before I could get an appointment. They told me to be here within 45 minutes, and I was certain to be here. Went through a thorough examination, went through a series of measurements that I had to do, as well as some x-rays. I came back the next day, and like I said, I had no alternatives. I was expecting the normal twisting and contorting that you normally get from a conventional type of chiropractor, but the adjustment I got was just basically a gentle pressure on my neck. It was a gentle pressure on my neck. After that, I received 3 adjustments a week, then went to 2, then to 1. Now I'm showing up every 2 to 3 weeks for an adjustment, and that time will continue to spread out as long as my adjustments hold. If you're asking me why I didn't see Dr. Brown soon after discovering NUCCA, I'd just have to say I was skeptical. I just couldn't believe that this could work. How could adjustment to the neck solve a TMJ problem, or even more so, how could an adjustment to the neck actually help my lower back from something I had injured many years ago?
Hi, nice to meet you.
I was just too skeptical that it'd be true. So, if there's any skeptics out there, what I'd like to tell you is that I hope that my testimonial can convince you to try NUCCA. Thank you.